Resident Evil Veronica just hijacked the Summer Game Fest stage with a massive official reveal trailer, and the survival horror community is absolutely losing its mind over this legendary comeback. Capcom officially locked in a 2027 release window across current-gen systems, confirming a full-scale reimagining of the iconic 2000 classic. This means we're getting a ground-up, modern survival horror experience built completely from scratch. But while the official footage baited everyone into thinking this was a first-person game, what the insiders are leaking behind the scenes paints a completely different and honestly wild picture. Capcom's official press statement says this game is being reborn in 2027 with a restructured story. Look closely at that specific word, restructured. That one word changes everything. It proves they aren't giving us a simple, safe graphical upgrade. In my opinion, dropping the word code from the original title is a massive statement of intent. They want a completely clean slate for modern audiences. I honestly think they are trying to fix the pacing issues that completely dragged down the back half of the original 2000 release. But now, here's the part that I think really matters. Everyone was panicking that the entire game was going first person because of how the reveal trailer was framed. It looked exactly like Resident Evil 7. But prominent insider Dusk Golem immediately cleared the air on X, confirming that the game is 100% third person under the hood. I, for one, am incredibly relieved by this news. Standard over-the-shoulder gameplay is just superior for Claire's story. This is where the leaks get even deeper when it comes to the actual gameplay mechanics. Dusk Golem revealed that Capcom is playing loose with the source material to create a semi-open world structure for Rockford Island. They are apparently adding a mechanic where you can repair and ride a motorcycle to traverse the map. That sounds completely wild for a classic Resident Evil game. I'm kind of conflicted because vehicular travel could easily kill the claustrophobic survival horror tension, but if they nail the execution, it changes everything. We also got major context on the timeline changes. The trailer shows Claire getting captured in Paris by Hunk, which completely threw veteran fans for a loop. In the original, she gets captured after an insane, over-the-top helicopter shootout. Fans thought that iconic sequence was totally cut, but according to Dusk Golem, that action sequence is still fully intact, it's just been moved. The new Paris intro serves as an expanded prequel segment. I think this structural shift is brilliant. It gives us more time with Claire before the absolute madness starts. Now, the community is currently tearing this trailer apart frame by frame, and Twitter has absolutely erupted over one specific Easter egg. When Claire is in Chris's apartment, the landlady mentions that the messy room looks like a boulder rolled through here. Capcom actually put a Resident Evil 5 boulder punching joke into a 2027 game. I absolutely love that level of self-awareness. It shows they know exactly who their audience is. But while that's a funny nod, the hardcore fans on Reddit are laser focused on something way darker, the actual villains. If you played the original 2000 release, you know the Ashford family is completely unhinged. But what a lot of newer players don't realize is that early in Code Veronica's original development, Alfred and Alexia were literally written as members of extreme historical factions named Hilda and Hilbert Kruger. Capcom censored it back in the day to avoid shipping two different versions for European markets. But looking at the new trailer, we see a zombie prison guard rocking a militaristic authoritarian uniform, clutching a 1911 pistol, and wearing a vintage umbrella pin. I honestly think Capcom is bringing back those original, deeply disturbing roots to the regime. I, for one, am completely here for it. If you're going to remake a horror game, lean into the actual horror, don't sanitize the dark history. And that right there is what raises the emotional stakes for the entire community. Players have been begging for this specific remake for years, but there is genuine widespread panic across the forums that Capcom might pull another Resident Evil 3 remake and slash massive chunks of the campaign. Code Veronica is a notoriously long, bizarre game. The community is terrified they will cut the Antarctic base or completely strip out the weirdness that made it a cult classic. The trailer did flash those iconic gold Luger pistols. followed immediately by a blurry shot of some orange hair, which basically confirms Steve Burnside is returning. I would love to see them actually make Steve a compelling, tragic character this time around. Like, instead of just being the annoying kid whining in your ear with dual submachine guns, he actually needs genuine emotional depth to make his inevitable mutation hit hard. So the insider leak about a brand new Albert Wesker boss fight specifically for Chris Redfield has me incredibly hyped. We never got a proper, fully playable showdown between them on Rockford Island in the original game. It was basically just a one-sided cutscene beatdown where Wesker throws Chris through a wall. Giving us a fully realized modern Wesker boss fight is exactly the kind of expansion this reimagining desperately needs to feel complete. Like, this is the thing that has me the most excited out of all the leaked information, but confirmed details and leaked boss fights are only the beginning. If Resident Evil Veronica is completely restructuring the lore, moving iconic action sequences, and adding massive new confrontations, what does this actually mean for the inevitable Resident Evil 5 remake? Now, looking at the entire board, my final verdict is that Capcom is taking a massive, calculated risk with this 2027 release. We know they are specifically targeting the first half of 2027 to ride the momentum immediately following the franchise's 30th anniversary in 2026, but the margin for error is razor thin. Like, this isn't just a side project to hold us over. In my opinion, this is being positioned as the absolute crown jewel of their modern remake era. I honestly think they are using this Rockford Island overhaul as a testing ground for the entire engine. If the semi-open world structure succeeds, it will completely redefine how they design survival horror moving forward. But if they fail, the community will absolutely riot. And that's where the broader implications for the series get incredibly heavy. Shifting from tight, pre-rendered corridors to an open map design fundamentally changes the identity of classic Resident Evil. I would love to see them balance this expansion by making the outdoor sections completely overrun, forcing you to manage resources strategically rather than just rushing past enemies. But if they lean too hard into the action, we risk repeating the exact same identity crisis the series suffered during the PS3 era. Like, the community immediately caught this shift in tone. Reddit is already drawing comparisons to action-heavy titles, which honestly terrifies me. I, for one, am praying they keep the focus on brutal, unrelenting survival. The game needs to feel oppressive. But the absolute biggest takeaway here is what this means for Albert Wesker and the overarching timeline. Adding a fully playable Wesker boss fight for Chris Redfield isn't just pure fan service, it is a mandatory narrative bridge. Code Veronica was always the true sequel to Resident Evil 2, and setting up Chris and Wesker's bitter rivalry is essential. I think Capcom is retroactively fixing the massive plot holes before they officially announce the Resident Evil 5 remake. By expanding Wesker's role here, they can properly establish his god complex and his viral enhancements before we get to the African sun. Like, if we accept that this new Wesker fight is real, it guarantees RE5 is the next major mainline remake on the slate. They are building a unified, cohesive canon that completely erases the disjointed storytelling of the early 2000s. And that's exactly what this franchise needs to survive the next decade, which means this bold restructuring completely changes the stakes for the hardcore community. Players have waited over 2 decades to see Claire Redfield get the ultimate respect she deserves. I honestly think she got completely sidelined after RE2, and this 2027 reimagining is her ultimate redemption arc. But confirmed features and insider leaks are only the beginning of this conversation. If they are willing to fundamentally alter Rockford Island and give Chris a massive Wesker showdown, who knows what they are doing to the twisted Ashford family dynamics in the Antarctic base. The potential for absolute madness is off the charts. Which leads to the most important question for you guys down in the comments. How do you feel about the semi-open world structure being added to a classic survival horror experience? Let me know exactly what you think. Hit the like button if you enjoyed, subscribe if you know what he's on, and until next time, this has been Tuzo, and I'll talk to you guys in the next video.